Hey, welcome to Weekly Rides with Reuben. Weekly Rides with Reuben are uploaded every Wednesday, and they're a random collection of motorcycle adventures, life on two wheels, and bike reviews. And today I'm going to talk about 5 reasons why I bought, drumroll, a Harley Davidson Ultra Ultra Classic. Now, some of you may have fallen out of your chair, because most of my videos have been dirt bikes, sport bikes, dual sports, adventure touring, you name it, track days. Why did I buy a Harley Davidson Ultra Classic? We're going to talk about that. I'm going to list about 5-ish reasons why I chose to buy this 2005 Ultra Ultra Classic. And first I'll just give you a quick walk around of the bike, because this is the first time that I'm kind of showing it off. So it's a 2005. It has the 88 cubic inch, of course, air-cooled V-twin 5-speed. In 2007, they went to a 96 cubic inch motor and a 6-speed. But I didn't buy this thing for the horsepower. That is not one of the reasons I'm going to list. Speed and performance? No. Not reasons why. Check this out. If you open the top case up, look how much room you've got in there. Of course, you've got saddlebags as well. You've even got bags up down here on the lower fairing. Got a bag up here, which is great for toll money, I found out. We're going to take this thing for a ride and talk about reasons why I chose this bike over pretty much anything. I was looking at spending roughly $10,000 on a bike, 10 to 12 maybe. I was looking at the Z900 RS, that's the last video I uploaded. Awesome motorcycle, but I chose a Harley, and I'm going to talk about why. So let's hop on, we'll fire it up. Actually, before I hop on, I'll fire it up. Because one of the things about a Harley, besides the fact that it has a built-in radar detector, which I think is kind of funny, is they kind of just have that classic, sound. This has a full Vance & Hines exhaust on it. So, got a good little rumble to it. Of course, everything's shaking, I mean, to me, that sounds pretty good. Hopping on a Harley from the non-kickstand side is kind of weird still to me. Weight is well north of 800 pounds, so it's a heavy bike. Taking a little bit of getting used to, but surprisingly, the weight really doesn't feel like that much once you are moving. So, what are the reasons I bought a Harley? Well, when I own a motorcycle, it tends to, and hopefully you can hear me over the bike and the noise, but when I buy a motorcycle, it tends to replace my car in a lot of ways. I still have my car, but I tend to ride like 90% of the time. I only drive if I really have to. So I drive a Toyota Sequoia that gets like 15 miles per gallon. So getting a motorcycle means I'm going to save a lot of money on gas. This thing's fogging up on me. So one of the reasons I bought this bike is convenience. The luggage on this bike, the tour pack and the saddlebags, means that I can bring anything with me, that I need throughout the day. If I need to stop at the grocery store, if I need to bring some stuff home, if I need to bring some stuff to work, it's no problem on this bike at all, unless it's like a huge sheet of plywood or something. So that's reason number 1. Number 2 is comfort. This thing is like riding a sofa. I mean, it's got a huge, wide seat. I think the seat's like 17 inches wide. It's ridiculously comfortable. One of the things I really wanted to do on my new motorcycle, whatever it was going to be, is take my kids for rides. They're 13 and 15 now, so I don't really have that many more years with them. And I wanted a bike that I could comfortably and safely take with me, take them with me on the back. And obviously, an Ultra Classic has a very, very nice back seat that really kind of gives the passenger a really good backrest. It has floorboards. They are held in securely. And, it's going to keep me in check in terms of my riding. I'm not going to be pushing this thing to the ultimate limit when I'm riding, which I tend to, even with a passenger on the back, I tend to try to ride faster if I'm on something sportier. Only natural, right? It's part of the fun. Not saying this thing isn't fun to ride, actually. It's pretty fun to toss through a corner. So the next big issue, or big reason I bought a Harley is low maintenance and reliability. Now some of you may laugh at that if you're not Harley people. You know, buying a Harley because it's reliable. I'm sorry I keep opening and closing the face shield. I'm trying to keep it from fogging up on us. Harley's got a bad rap, especially during the AMF years. Sure, the older bikes, they leaked. They had their issues. And, you know, no bike is perfect. This one has cam chain tensioner issues, which plague several other makes of motorcycle. So, you know, I've got to get in there soon and open it up. This bike's got just over 20,000 miles on it now. So I need to inspect the little shoes that rub against the timing chain and make sure they're not wearing through. Big deal, maintenance item. You can upgrade it. There's a lot of different ways to improve that system, or you can just replace the stock ones when they get worn down a little bit and get another 20 or 40,000 miles out of them. So I'll do that. Other than that, this motor is super reliable. In fact, most of the ones that I was looking at, this one when I bought it had about 18,000 miles on it. I bought it a week ago and it's at 20,500. So that gives you an idea of how much I've been riding it in a week. There's super low maintenance on these. It's belt driven, so there's no chain maintenance at all. No clean lube adjust every 500 miles or whatever. You're just not going to have to do that. That's a huge plus. I mean, dealing with chains is just, it's part of riding a motorcycle, but you know, on this bike I don't have to. No valve adjustments, hydraulically actuated lifters, so you know, it's push rod engine, low compression, it's very low strung. You know, it doesn't have high horsepower. I didn't buy it for that. It has a good amount of torque. It's fun in the corners, but I mean, I was looking at these things for sale with 60, 70, 80,000, 125,000 miles on them, and you know, they all seemed to run pretty good. Now, just like any motorcycle, you know, a lot of it comes down to maintenance, and I was really lucky to, for this kind of bike, find a low mileage example. So that worked out in my favor. This thing was very, very clean when I bought it. I've gotten some bugs, I've gotten it filthy. So the next big reason I chose a Harley is resale value. I was, like I said in the beginning, I was looking at new bikes, and pretty much any brand new motorcycle you buy, first of all, you're not going to get one of these for $10,000 or $12,000. These things are more like $25,000 to $30,000, which is crazy to me, but hey, that's what they go for. But let's say I was to go out and buy a $12,000 brand new bike. We all know they plummet in value as soon as you ride them off the lot. That's typical of just about any new vehicle purchase, but bikes in particular tend to drop in value quite a bit. Harleys, on the other hand, in particular a used Harley, if you get a good enough deal on one, you can ride the snot out of it and sell it for close to what you paid for it. You know, most of the depreciation on this bike has already occurred. I happened to get a really good deal on it, and I know that I could ride this thing for probably 5 years or more, rack up another 50,000 miles on it, and sell it for maybe a couple thousand less than I paid, maybe. So resale value was definitely something, you know, on my radar. And the last of my 5 reasons is the classic styling and a bit of nostalgia, and that kind of goes back to my early childhood. An Ultra Classic was actually the first motorcycle I actually ever got to ride on. My grandfather was huge into Harleys. I lived in Australia, and he loved Harleys and Indians. He always had them in his workshop. And I remember going in there, and he was honing cylinders, and you know, just always had them taken apart and working on them. And he usually had several different bikes in the garage. And he had a black Electric Glide Ultra Classic, and this was back in the 80s, and he took me for a ride on the back of it. And that's cool, you know, that's something that I definitely got a lot of his DNA, and riding this is, you know, in a way, kind of a weird little connection that I have back to him. We'll hop on the highway here, you can see what it's like cruising down the freeway. And I'll do a full in-depth review of this bike to kind of go over all the different features that it has. It's actually really nice. Now, could I have gone out and gotten all the things I listed in something like a Goldwing? You know, it's comfortable, it's reliable, it's convenient, it's got all the luggage room. Yeah, absolutely I could have, but it wouldn't have had that kind of classic nostalgic feeling to me. And if I'm going to buy a big highway cruiser, basically, it was going to be an Electric Light Ultra Classic. And let me tell you this, I had to get my son to Ohio last weekend, and it was a viable option to take this bike, and so we did it. I had had this bike less than a week. I hopped on with my son and rode it about 500 miles to Ohio over 2 days, and then I rode it back in 1 day, straight shot, back to North Carolina. And you know, putting in a 500-mile day on a new bike to you, I was expecting to be kind of sore, tired. I could have kept going. I could have gone to Florida that day, seriously. I mean, it's got cruise control, I've got highway pegs, I put my feet up, I'm just chilling, cruising along. It was ridiculously comfortable, and like I said, reliable. I was getting about, I don't know, 40 miles per gallon or so, close to filling up around 180 miles on a tank. Of course, I haven't run it out but anyway, you guys that are following this channel because you love dual sports, or you love sport bikes and track days, or adventure touring, don't go anywhere. I'm gonna have plenty of content for all of you. This just happens to be the first bike for me back on two wheels, and for all the reasons I listed, that's why I chose it. Now, in terms of, you know, a lot of my friends that, you know, are sport bike guys, dirt bike guys, they were kind of shocked. They were like, "You bought a Harley? You don't seem like a Harley guy." And I was like, "What does that mean?" And sure, okay, Harley guys, whatever that means, maybe there's a bit of a culture there. But you know what? All kinds of people ride all kinds of motorcycles, and I don't judge anybody for what they ride. In fact, one of the funniest things on this bike I have to share, I was riding it like a day or two after I got it. I came up to an intersection like this, and there was a guy on, I think it was a V-Strom 650 coming the other way, and I waved at him and he about fell off his bike. I think he was like, "What the heck? This dude on a black Harley in a full face helmet and riding gear just waved at me." He just, you know, just brain freaked out. He couldn't process it. So I thought that was pretty funny, but I don't discriminate. I love everything on two wheels. I've said that multiple times, even bicycles. Heck, I've ridden a bike to work many times. So yeah, those are some of the reasons I chose to buy a Harley. I don't know, guys, I'm really liking this bike. I've put close to 2,000 miles on it in a week and a half, and I could see racking up 50,000 miles on this thing easy. I even rode it through some mountain twisties. It's fun. You're not going nearly as fast as you could on something sporty, sure, but it's still fun to pick your line. This motor's got lots of torque down low, so you're coming out of the corners, especially those uphill kind of sweepers. It's a lot of fun. And I still haven't dragged a floorboard. I mean, I've had this thing leaned over pretty far, and I keep going a little further, and, you know, I'm kind of timidly going until I find some kind of hard part to scrape, but I haven't scraped anything yet, so I'm, I don't know. I'm surprised, actually, at how far over it leans, because I've ridden other cruisers that touch down a lot earlier, so I think the Harley touring bikes tend to have a little more ground clearance on them. But yeah, I'm gonna find a place to pull over here so you guys can get one more last look at the bike. One thing that's really weird about a Harley is you have a right turn signal button on the right side and a left turn signal button on the left side. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to start the bike and turned on my right turn signal. And they're auto canceling, so it's on right now, and now it's off just by itself. It's really kind of odd, strange thing to get used to. for sure. We'll go around the block here and I mean, to me, it's still a fun bike to ride. You know, you still get that feeling of acceleration. You got to shift through the gears. It happens kind of in a compressed state. You know, you're shifting from first to second early on. It's not like riding a big, you know, ZX14 or something. I'll pull in here, where you're shifting into second at 100 miles an hour. Which, hey, that's fun too, but man, I can see losing my license with something like that. So this is it, guys. 2005 Electra Glide Ultra Classic. I will be bringing lots of other motorcycle reviews to the channel, so it won't be all Harley videos, but I'm liking this thing. I've been riding it all over. Already ridden it to Ohio and back, so through Virginia, West Virginia, Western North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio. Still has a temp tag on it. I was almost expecting to get pulled over because it's not even really an official tag. It's just like the dealer's plate with a date written on it. So I thought, surely some cop's gonna give me grief about that, but it's a clean example. The guy obviously took care of it, and I'm happy with it. So that's all that really matters, guys. Ride what you like. So this has been another Weekly Rides with Reuben. Definitely stay tuned and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all our motorcycle adventures. You can definitely have an adventure on a Harley. I've got some video footage from that trip to Ohio with my son. Great memories. Can't wait to share it with you. See ya.